Welcome back or welcome to if you're just tuning in for the very first time to the Don't Start Joe Shit podcast, episode 12, recorded on 12/12. I am King Himothy. I am the Him Reaper. I am Notorious H. I am Michael Himjalo. I am that boy. Welcome back to the channel. I want to talk about a subject that I feel is very important. Uh, and that subject would be dating after a breakup, dating after heartbreak. When you are in a relationship and you fall deep for somebody and that doesn't work out, when the person you thought you was going to spend the rest of your life with is no longer there, how do you date after that? Like, what do you do after a really bad breakup, after a really tough heartbreak? The person you in love with is no longer your person. How do you go on after that? A lot of us go down a bad rabbit hole when that happens. Because after a bad breakup, a piece of us is gone when that person is gone. Barriers and walls go up, and we make it a lot harder for the next person to get through. And I myself, not to be hypocritical, found myself doing that at a certain point in my life. And I'm here to tell y'all that that's not good. It's not good to punish your next person because of your ex person. Because your next person is not your ex person. You can't give all of yourself and do all the things you did to your ex and then go out into the dating pool and be like, okay, well, since that didn't work out, the next person is not going to get this, and this. We we shell ourselves. We become a version of ourselves that we really don't want to be. And it hurts us in the dating pool because we're trying so hard to protect ourselves from another heartbreak like that. A lot of us feel like we can't take multiple heartbreaks like that. I get it. But you have to find the time to recover who you were in that relationship. You can't be 100% in one relationship and then go to the next relationship and only want to be 60%. You can't be a lesser version of yourself if you want a successful, healthy relationship going forward. Just because it didn't work out with a specific person doesn't mean that every person you encounter after that is going to be the same way. It's okay to hurt. It's okay to have a period of time where you're closed off, where everything is dark, and you don't want any light to shine through. Sometimes we need to sit in the darkness. Sometimes we don't need the light for a little bit because everything was all sunny for so long that we forgot what it was like when the sun didn't shine. Everybody has their own healing process. Everybody has their own thing that they need to do to cope with the situation. Some people go off and be promiscuous, which I'm a sexually free and liberating person. I believe you should do whatever it is you want to do with your body. But be mindful of what consequences come with that if you're going to do that route. Perception is everything. The person that's meant for you may be trying to find you. And he just may find you, or she just may find you. But you done racked up such a bad reputation in the streets as being for the streets that now your person no longer wants to deal with you. That's just the reality of it. Preference. It's not being judgmental. It's literally a preference. I want to help some of you cope with dealing with a breakup and getting back into the dating pool. Because also I find a lot of times that we struggle to remember what it was like to be happy with just ourselves. There's people out here that rely on other people for happiness. Soon as they stop talking to one person, they're already talking to the next. They might have already been talking to the next person while still being with the previous person. They don't give themselves time to just be to themselves. I don't enjoy being by myself. It's too boring being by myself. I need attention. I crave attention. I crave affection. I get that. I really do. But that is such a handicap. That is such a crutch. How can you make somebody happy if you don't even know what it takes to make you happy? How can you be two when you don't even know how to be one? And you don't even try to take the time to figure out what it is that does make you happy on your own? Maybe you do try. Maybe you have yourself a self-care day. Maybe you go shopping or whatever it is. Maybe you find a temporary fix. Maybe you plan a whole day to not think about the fact that you are on your own, and it works. But then at the end of the night, once you're done and you've been done being distracted for the day, you go back into that mindset of, oh, there's nobody to hold me at night. There's nobody for me to call at night. There's nobody to make me feel whole at night. And that's a dangerous thought process to go through, because then you start to make unpopular decisions that usually don't lead to your benefit. I empathize with those who can't go long periods of time being single. As I previously stated to myself, to you guys in previous videos, I've been single for a long time. I am somebody who has adapted to being to myself. Not that I necessarily want to be. Of course, I want a partner. Of course, I want somebody to love. I want somebody to love me. But I also know that I can survive just me. I know what makes me happy. So when I run into my person, all the love that I know I can give myself, I'm able to give it to them. I know who Nook Fears is outside of a relationship. I don't have to go find who Nook Fears is. A lot of you don't know how to go find yourselves after the previous situation didn't work out. especially the ones who were in a relationship for years. It's hard to remember who you were before that person. It's hard to imagine who you're going to be without that person. But at the end of the day, you are your own person. So you have to figure out how to navigate your own happiness. Ladies, you got to stop thinking that just because somebody makes you physically happy, that's love. I think a lot of you get caught up in that, especially if the sex is great, especially if it's in your top three, even if it's your best. That's the worst because you project that great sex into great romance, into a great relationship, when all it is just great sex. This person has come into your life to show you just how sexually satisfied you can be, but this person cannot fulfill the part of your life that's essential to being in love and being in a romantic relationship and a happy, healthy relationship. But y'all like that toxic D, don't y'all? Y'all don't care how toxic the person is as long as that D is healthy. It's not good. It's not good. After a breakup, you're in a very vulnerable place. And men are like sharks in blood infested waters. A man will literally know you just got out of a relationship 2 minutes ago and already be in your DMs trying to get at you. You're vulnerable. You just lost all the attention that you were getting. And here comes along some predator wanting to give you all the attention that you no longer will be getting from your previous person. And you think that person actually really wants you for you. When most of the time, all that person really see is somebody that's going to give it up because they need to be fulfilled. And that person that they were with no longer is going to fulfill that for the most part. Because a lot of times, too, when you break up with somebody, the sex don't stop. The relationship did, but the sex didn't. Now, maybe because it was good, or maybe because you're just comfortable with that person and you are uncomfortable with being with anybody else physically. And that's perfectly fine. I understand that too. But how do you expect to move on from that person if you're still giving yourself to them? You can't have it both ways. If you want to move on and find your next healthy relationship, you have to detach yourself from the previous person, both emotionally and physically, no matter how good the physical was. Because you're going to be tempted to go back. You could literally be talking to a great person, but maybe their sex don't align with your previous person's sex. But this person that you're talking to now is such a great person and would make a great life partner. But you thinking in the back of your mind, this person over here used to really put it on me. And it just clouds your judgment. It won't allow you to fully commit to your new person. Dating after a breakup is hard. You gotta pick yourself off the floor, especially if you were the one broken up. It's not easy breaking up with somebody neither. But if you're the one that's been broken up with, you go through a time period of depression. you go through a period where you don't believe you don't believe you'll ever be happy. You don't believe that you can be enough for a person because you felt like you gave everything you had and it just wasn't good enough. It's hard to put yourself into that mentality of I didn't lose that person lost me. And that's really what it is. That's really what you can look at it as for the most part. A lot of us have been done wrong in a relationship. A lot of us has been gaslit in a relationship. Somebody's done something so treacherous to us and then makes us feel like we were the reason behind they did what they did. Or we were the reason why everything happened the way it did. Not taking accountability for the part that they played in it at all. It was all our fault. They make us not feel good enough. They made us feel like we was the ones that needed to change. That we was the ones that needed to improve. That we deserved them more than they deserved us. And we have to carry that pain, that thought process to the streets. And these streets are terrible. Let me tell you, I've been out here a very long time. They are terrible. I think that it's important that after a breakup, you take that process very slow. Day by day, hour by hour. Each day you find something new that makes you smile. To combat sadness and depression, you need to smile. So you need to find something each day that makes you smile. It could be the same thing or it could be something different. But you got to learn to smile again. You got to learn to laugh again. Laughter is the cure. If you can find things that makes you laugh, it makes you forget about all the pain that you're going through. Ladies, not to start my shit, but this is don't start your shit. Stop using your breakup as an excuse to go fuck around. I wanted to say that politely, but there's no polite way to really to relay the message the way I need to relay it besides don't use your breakup to go fuck around. It's not the answer. It's not the solution. You think racking up more bodies, do you not realize what happens when you have sexual relations with somebody? That soul to soul exchange. You give yourself a you give a piece of yourself to that person. And if you're going into a moment of intimacy with a person you know you're not trying to be with or you know you're not going to be with, why would you even give yourself to that person? Why? Because you need to be satisfied in the moment? Cool. But once that clarity after hits you and you realize that did absolutely nothing for you, then you want to come back and be like, okay, now I'm ready to have something real. 10, 15 bodies later. And each one of those people then took something from you. Now, once again, sexual freedom. You're more than welcome to have it, but you need to understand what happens when you do that. Perception is everything. What did I do after my breakup? After my heartbreak? I I relied on my friends. Um, I tried to keep busy with work. Uh, and it's good to have a good support system, even if it's not a big circle. It's good to have people around you that you can lean on in those times where you just need somebody to save you from yourself. Because a lot of times there's not that person there to save us from ourselves. When we get broken up with or we go through a breakup, our first instinct is to do some dumb shit. Whether that's to get revenge or just to be reckless because now you feel liberated from the shackles that you were in. And we need somebody in our corner to rein us back in and be like, hey, that's stupid. Don't do that. That is not going to help you. And I had that. I love my support system. I love my friends, but I understand not everybody has that. And when you're going through this alone, when you're fighting this battle alone, it's easy to get caught up in the bad decisions. It's easy to think a bad idea is a good idea. So your mind starts to work backwards because you don't know what's right anymore. All was right in the world when you were in this relationship, and now you're not in it and you don't know how to operate. I get it. Fellas, stop lying and acting like you don't cry over women. Don't act like you don't be sad when you don't have your girl anymore. Stop acting like you emotionless. You're not. Stop acting like you're invincible, impervious to pain, impervious to heartbreak. It's unhealthy. Because then we carry on as if we don't need that person. And are we just trying to knock down a roster to prove to ourselves that we are the man? But that doesn't prove that you're the man. Because the man would have kept his woman. If the man lost his woman, the man would have knew how to get his woman back. And sometimes that's really all it is. Sometimes you might not have you might have broken up just because you had a lot going on and you had to go separate ways. And then as time goes on, years go by, you may meet again down the road and now you're ready to be back in the relationship, but at a better point in life for the both of you. I've seen it happen. Sometimes it's just not that time for you guys. But you want to know what I really think? I really think most of you women prefer the toxicity over what's good for you. A lot of you have what's good for you and what's best for you right in front of your face. But if it's too normal, if it's too good, almost too good to be true, actually, you tend to want to push that away. You enjoy the toxicity. And because you enjoy the toxicity, that's why you can't have the stability. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that person? What's wrong with that guy that has come along and actually brought you peace in your life? What's wrong with that guy that checks on you, that makes sure, that asks if you have a good day, that asks how you're feeling, that takes care of you when you're sick, that brings you flowers unexpectedly, that brings you food without you even asking for it? That guy that really shows up for you when you need him the most. Most of y'all have that guy right there that wants to be there and be that guy for you. But he's just not enough because he's not the other guy over here that probably has multiple women that he's talking to. That's probably trying to make sure you not doing nothing funny because he's doing something funny. The guy that's appearing to care but really don't is more of a control thing. And you don't realize it's a control thing because he does it in such a silky smooth way that it looks like he's caring for you when he's really just trying to control you. But the guy who wants you to be yourself, the guy who wants you to be free, just show him the same respect that he shows you. That guy's not good enough. It's because you don't know how to be healthy. Because you've chosen toxicness so much for so long. You don't believe that healthy can make you happy. That's a that's a process you really got to work on. It's not good. You have to learn to trust again. It's very hard to trust the next. It's very hard to trust after a breakup, but you have to. Not everybody's here to hurt you. Never. Not everybody's out to get you. Not everybody's a dog. Not everybody's trash. Like most women want to claim that all men are trash or most men are trash. Men ain't shit. Da 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 da. Da. Spew that vitriol into the world, and that's another reason why you don't get a good man. If you don't believe there's a good men in the world, why would the Lord send you one? You got to be careful with what you put out into the universe because what you put out in the universe is going to give it back to you. If you feel like you don't need a man because ain't no good ones out here, you ain't going to get one. You have to continue to believe that your person is out there. You have to continue to believe that there is a good partner for you. You can't have one person or a couple people mess with your head so much that you believe the entire world is like that. You just attracted bad energy. You attracted the wrong people. And at a certain point, you have to look in the mirror and ask yourself, is it you? Because you are what you attract. If you continue to attract bad people, there's something about you that ain't right. And you might want to fix it. Look at yourself in the mirror. You ain't perfect. Really look at yourself and be like, what am I doing wrong? What is wrong about me that I need to change so I can start attracting the right people? When you can figure that out, you'll see the shift. Breaking up is a tough thing to go through. And everybody's timeline for healing is different. Some people can heal in days, some people can heal in weeks, some people can heal in months. And if it's really bad, some people need years. But what you shouldn't do is rush yourself back into another relationship before you're ready because you're going to self sabotage it. It'll be doomed before it even really starts. Getting back into a relationship after a tough breakup, you have to be ready for that. You have to be sure of yourself, and you have to be sure of the person that you're willing to take that another chance on. And I want to implore you, if you're the person that's been broken up with, if you're the on the receiving end of the hurt, don't blame yourself. Don't make it seem like it was all your fault. All breakups are not equal, but all breakups aren't on one person. You may be more at fault for the breakup, but that other person is not completely absolved. Because whatever led to the breakup, something had to happen. It takes two to tango, it takes two for a breakup. Believe it or not. Ladies, I understand dating for a breakup. Dating after a breakup may be a lot harder for you because women are more emotional creatures than men. But that does not give you the green light to start using good men either. Because you can get into that mindset of, I'm just going to use these men for this, and that. Since I don't have a man of my own, I'm going to use multiple men for multiple things. I'm going to use him for food. I'm going to use him for shopping. I'm going to use him for sex. And now, instead of finding everything you need in one person, you're spreading it out amongst multiple people. Be careful with that. You might catch something. Because these streets are very dangerous. Be careful with who you're giving yourself to. Because you don't know who they're giving their selves to and what they're bringing back to you. If somebody is not trying to be with you specifically, they're being with other people. And if you're okay with that, that's you. But you need to make sure that they're not bringing you something from another person. We don't tend to think about that after a breakup. We're just thinking about fulfilling a need. But you have to fulfill your needs in a smart way. You have to be more diligent with fulfilling your needs. It's not the time to get lazy after a breakup. You still have to be cautious. You still have to move accordingly because you could be a great person, but you could really mess yourself up acting on emotions and not logic. You have to be logical when dating after a breakup because if you lean with emotions, you're going to lean into past repetitive cycles. You have to do something different from what you were doing. And that's logical thinking. What do I need to do different here that I didn't do over here? And I'm not saying all of this is going to lead to a successful relationship. But what I'm saying is you need to prepare yourself better to give yourself again to another person after a tough breakup. You can't half-ass a new relationship when you full-assed a previous relationship. Get yourself to a position to give yourself completely to another person again. I don't know where I would have been without my inner circle during my time of need. If you have to go to counseling, therapy, I know it's not a popular thing to do, but if you have to go to therapy, please go to therapy. If you have to take up a hobby, take up a hobby. If you need to immerse yourself into work, immerse yourself into work. But you have to move accordingly what's best for you in the now and what's best for you in the next. Nobody's perfect. So don't try to be perfect. Nobody's looking for a perfect person. They're just looking for a perfect person for them. Don't try to go being somebody that checks every single box that somebody might have. It's an unrealistic expectation. You can't check every box. You're trying too hard. And people can tell when you're trying too hard, when you're being something that you're not. The moment you start being something that you're not is the moment you need to detach and reconfigure yourself. If I have to do all of this to prove to this person that I'm perfect, I probably shouldn't be in this situation. I need somebody to understand that I'm flawed, I'm vulnerable, I'm going to mess up, but I'm going to be good, I'm going to be loyal, and I'm going to be everything that I possibly can be for this person. As long as they allow me to grow. And that's really what it's all about. You have to grow after a breakup. If you don't grow, it will show in the results that happens to you next. Because you either repeat the cycle or you'll break it. The decision is yours. Do you want to go through another heartbreak? Or do you want a chance to actually have a happy, healthy relationship with the right person? Not the toxic person, the right person. And let's be honest, we all know, or we all have an idea of who the right person may be. And we're just afraid to admit it. We're afraid to commit to it. Don't hold yourself back. Rediscover yourself and get back out there. That's all I got for you on this episode. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. This is me signing off. Don't start your shit. Won't be no shit.